Mazda just built a petrol engine that secretly runs like a diesel when you hit the motorway, and it came from a company so small, most people can't even name 3 of their cars. This is the SkyActiv-Z. Here's what Mazda just actually built. Let's start with the engine itself, because the SkyActiv-Z is the kind of thing that doesn't fully land until you hear what it's actually doing. It's a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder that runs on regular pump fuel, it's got normal spark plugs, and it drives exactly like any petrol car you've ever owned. Nothing unusual happening on the surface, completely unremarkable first impression. But the moment you ease off and settle into a motorway cruise, something happens that no other production petrol engine on the planet does. The spark plugs basically become spectators. The engine compresses the air-fuel mixture to such extreme pressure that it self-ignites, exactly the way diesel combustion works, without any spark triggering it. Mazda calls this SPCCI, Spark Controlled Compression Ignition, where the plug's only job is controlling the precise timing of the compression event rather than starting it. You're getting diesel-level efficiency, diesel torque at low revs, all on regular petrol, with none of diesel's NOx problem, no particulate filters, no AdBlue systems, none of the legislative nightmare that made diesel such a headache to own. On top of that, it maintains what engineers call Lambda 1, the chemically perfect air-to-fuel ratio, across its entire operating range. Every other engine on the road constantly drifts away from that ideal ratio, depending on conditions, wasting energy every single time it does. This one doesn't drift, it burns clean from a cold start to wide-open acceleration, and the implications of that are what's about to make a very uncomfortable number of well-paid engineers update their CVs, why diesel dominated for a century and how it died. To really get why the SkyActiv-Z is such a big deal, you've got to understand what diesel actually was and why it was so hard to replace. Rudolf Diesel's engine did one thing no petrol engine could match. Instead of using a spark to ignite fuel, it compressed air so intensely that the air itself got hot enough to ignite fuel on contact. No spark, no ignition system, just pure compression doing all the work. The result was enormous low-end torque, exceptional efficiency, and range that petrol engines genuinely couldn't touch. Trucks, tractors, luxury sedans, it didn't matter. If you wanted efficiency and range in the same package, diesel was the only honest answer for over a century. Then 2015 happened. Volkswagen got caught cheating global emissions tests at a scale nobody saw coming, and the fallout was immediate and brutal. What came out was that diesel was producing catastrophic levels of nitrogen oxide pollution in every city it operated in, and NOx causes respiratory disease, smog, and early deaths that regulators couldn't keep looking away from. Paris banned it, London banned it, Madrid banned it, Mercedes pulled entire model lines, BMW slashed production, and by 2024, diesel was finished as a passenger car technology across the entire Western world. The most efficient engine ever mass-produced, dead, killed entirely by its own exhaust pipe. The hole nobody could fill. Here's the part that didn't get nearly enough attention at the time. Killing diesel didn't solve a problem. It created one. Petrol engines couldn't come close to matching diesel's efficiency. Hybrids helped, but dragged along hundreds of kilograms of battery weight and cost a fortune to engineer into something competitive. EVs were making all the headlines, but in the real world, they were still struggling with range in cold weather and a charging infrastructure that simply wasn't ready at scale. The gap diesel left was real, and nobody had a clean answer for it. The European auto industry started bleeding around 50,000 jobs per year because no single technology could fill what diesel had been doing. Toyota threw billions at hybrids. BMW turbocharged everything it could find. Mercedes announced a full electric pivot and then quietly reversed it. And Volkswagen restructured so many times it started to feel like a seasonal event. For a full decade, every major automaker tried to fill that gap and came up short in some meaningful way. None of them admitted it out loud, but you could feel the industry collectively holding its breath, hoping someone else would figure it out first. That collective silence is exactly where Mazda decided to show up. 13 years of silence. While Toyota dropped hybrid system updates every 18 months and BMW rolled out engine revisions twice a year, Mazda went completely quiet. No new engine architecture announced from 2014 right through to now, while the rest of the industry moved constantly and loudly and very publicly. From the outside, it looked like a company that had run out of things to say. That's genuinely not what was happening. What Mazda was actually doing was refusing to announce anything until they had something genuinely worth announcing, which in an industry completely addicted to press releases and incremental updates takes a very specific kind of stubbornness. They weren't out of ideas, they just weren't going to launch anything until the engineering actually justified the noise. And what they built during that silence was the SkyActiv-Z. Not a refresh of the previous engine, not a rebadge of an existing system, but a complete ground-up redesign of the entire combustion architecture, built to solve two things the global engineering community had been calling incompatible for 30 years. The reason German diesel engineers are already quietly refreshing their CVs isn't the press release. It's the physics of what this engine is actually doing. What this means at the fuel pump. All right, cool engineering, but what does any of this actually mean for you on a normal Tuesday morning sitting in traffic? Here's the practical version. In real-world driving, the SkyActiv-Z delivers fuel economy approaching diesel territory. And if you've been running a modern petrol car, you're going to notice that gap at the pump fairly quickly. It does all of this without the 150 extra kilograms of battery pack that every hybrid drags around, which adds to the sticker price up front and eventually needs replacing at a cost that dealerships tend not to lead with when they're selling you on the hybrid dream. Think about your actual driving week, the city stop-start, the motorway stretches, the weekend runs, because most engines are constantly fighting inefficiency through every single one of those conditions since the air-to-fuel ratio never stops drifting. The SkyActiv-Z isn't drifting, it's hitting the perfect ratio through all of them. And when Mazda bolts their own in-house hybrid system onto this engine in 2027, that electric motor isn't there to compensate for a weak base the way it is in every Toyota hybrid currently on the market. It's being layered on top of an engine already running at its efficiency ceiling, and that's a fundamentally different starting point that most coverage of this hasn't fully acknowledged. Toyota's 25-year lead just got very complicated. Here's what the mainstream automotive press keeps dancing around without quite saying it directly enough. Toyota spent 25 years building world-class hybrid systems around deliberately weak petrol engines. The combustion engine inside a Prius, a RAV4 hybrid, or a Lexus hybrid is intentionally compromised because the entire logic of Toyota's system is built on the assumption that the petrol engine can't do the job alone and needs the electric motor to pick up the slack. That's the foundational assumption everything rests on. Mazda's just proved that assumption wrong. A 2.5-liter engine-running Lambda, one combustion with SPCCI, already hits real-world fuel economy numbers that rival full hybrid systems before a single electric motor gets involved. Then Mazda stacks their hybrid on top of that, not to fix weaknesses, but to add even more efficiency to a combustion base already at its ceiling. Toyota spent 25 years perfecting hybrid systems around mediocre engines. Mazda spent 13 years perfecting the engine and is now putting the hybrid on top of it. Those are two completely different engineering starting points, and the math doesn't land in Toyota's favor, which is quite an uncomfortable sentence for an industry that's treated the RAV4 hybrid as an untouchable benchmark for years now. The inline-six nobody saw coming. If the four-cylinder already has you thinking about the competitive implications, the next part of this story is going to be a rough morning for a few well-funded German engineering departments. Mazda's confirmed that the same Lambda 1 combustion system and SPCCI technology from the four-cylinder is being scaled directly into a brand-new inline-six, a rear-wheel drive luxury inline-six specifically built to take on BMW's legendary B58 and Mercedes's AMG inline-six engines, the segment those two brands have jointly owned for somewhere between 50 and 60 years. A company whose entire annual production volume BMW moves in a single quarter is about to release a luxury six-cylinder that runs compression ignition on the motorway, holds perfect combustion across the full rev range, and clears Euro 7 emissions without needing a mild hybrid to cheat through the test cycle. BMW isn't going to hold a press conference about this. They're not going to acknowledge it publicly in any meaningful way, but the idea that their engineering teams aren't watching it very closely right now just isn't credible. The luxury inline-six market has been a closed club for half a century, and Mazda's showing up to it with the receipts, the part that quietly breaks the entire EV argument. Now here's what certain Brussels regulators would genuinely prefer didn't get too much airtime. Two of the lead engineers behind the SkyActiv-Z confirmed in a recent interview on Mazda's own channel that they're actively working toward carbon-negative internal combustion, meaning engines that, that, when running on synthetic fuels produced from atmospheric CO2, capture, remove more carbon from the air than they put in. The more you drive it, the cleaner the atmosphere gets. Take a genuine second with that sentence. The entire moral case for EV mandates, the reason governments subsidize EVs, the reason Brussels wants combustion banned by 2035, it's all built on one argument. EVs reduce atmospheric carbon. Mazda's engineering a petrol engine that beats that argument at its own game and does it better than an EV running off a coal-fired power station, which is exactly how most EVs in China and India are actually being charged today. The 2027 SkyActiv-Z won't be carbon negative yet. Mazda's been upfront about that, but the platform was designed from day one to accept synthetic fuels and atmospheric capture-derived hydrocarbons, and there are named engineers attached to a public timeline on this. It's not a research dream, it's a roadmap with people's careers committed to it. SkyActiv-X failed, so why should you actually believe this? Before you get fully swept up, there's a real counter-argument that deserves honest space, because the credibility of this whole conversation depends on not glossing over it. Mazda's been here before. The SkyActiv-X launched in 2019 with a remarkably similar pitch, a petrol engine using compression ignition technology, and in the real world, it fell short. Fuel economy gains were smaller than the numbers suggested, reliability concerns showed up in early units, and the price premium over the standard engine was nearly impossible to justify for most buyers. By 2024, Mazda had quietly wound it back across most of their lineup. That's a real track record, and it'd be doing you a disservice to skip past it. But here's the distinction that actually matters. The SkyActiv-X was a compression ignition system grafted onto an existing 2.0-liter base. The ZID is a complete ground-up redesign built around a 2.5-liter base with different thermal management, different injection architecture, and different heat insulation technology throughout. Mazda's publicly stated they took every lesson from what went wrong with the X and rebuilt the entire program from zero. And the fact that this engine isn't arriving until late 2027, despite clearly being well advanced in development, is probably the most honest signal of all. After SkyActiv-X, they know exactly what a second stumble would cost them, and they're clearly not willing to find out.